Hello, my name is Tasha Burke-Peard, and I'm a Technology Program Specialist with the Department of Educational Technology. In this short course, we are going to review some digital tools that can help you foster collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity in your classroom. So, we're going to cover a lot today. We're going to talk about the 4Cs, why it's important, and how it relates to our district vision and our mission. We're also going to go into a few tools for collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity. There are a lot of digital tools out there, and we've whittled it down, and we're just going to focus on a few district-supported tools to get you started. And with all of the tools that I show you, I will also be providing additional resources at the very end of this presentation so that you can go back at your own pace and take a look at the tools to see how you can make it relevant for your classroom. And as with any recording that we do in EdTech, you can always stop it, go back to it. You don't have to feel like you watch the whole thing all at once. Just take it in little chunks. All right, let's get started. The NEA, the National Education Association, helped to establish the Partnership for 21st Century Skills. That's a national advocacy organization that encourages schools, districts, and states to infuse technology into education. So from this, a framework for 21st century learning was developed with input from stakeholders, such as teachers, education leaders, the business community. 4 skills were deemed very important to help students become competitive in the global economy, all designed to answer this one question: what should graduates know and be able to do to be competitive? So these became known as the 4Cs. Educators began infusing this framework into every content area. And it's a well-known fact that the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, those are very important. But it's not enough to help students succeed in our society. Students also need to be proficient communicators, creators, not just consumers, critical thinkers and problem solvers, and collaborators. They need to know how to work together for a common goal. So students today must be prepared to solve the many challenges that life presents, as well as be prepared to be competitive in the changing nature of the workforce. So we advocate for the 4Cs being fully integrated into our teaching practice, especially in this blended learning environment. This is our district vision and mission, and I'm sure we all have it memorized by now. But I just wanted to point out a couple of things. In EdTech, we advocate for including the 4Cs framework because it is aligned with our district vision and our mission of having a collaborative, multicultural community where all learners achieve the skills needed to be successful in the global economy. We strive to empower each student on their journey to become responsible citizens and effectively learning how to collaborate and communicate, to think outside the box. These are the skills that can help them achieve that goal. Let's talk about collaboration. How can we effectively help our students collaborate with one another to create something, to produce something? There's a lot of different tools that I could showcase, but I'm only going to focus on a few district-supported tools that we all have access to. And I'm going to show you a few ideas on how you can help your students work together in groups. As with everything, the links that I show will be provided on the last couple of slides in this presentation, so don't worry, you will have access to everything. This is not a how-to. I am simply showing you some ideas, and hopefully you can take from these ideas and find something that is actionable that you can implement in your classroom this coming year. Let's get started. When it comes to collaboration, one thing that you can do in Google Classroom is assign group work. So this short video, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm just going to open it up just for a little bit. It's by Common Sense Media, And basically, he walks you through how to assign group work in Google Classroom.
If you're a teacher and you use Google Classroom, you've probably wanted to assign group work. In the past, it hasn't always been that easy, but as of this year, there's a new way to do this. Google has a feature called individual assignments, and you can use it for that. You can assign work to individual students, but you can also assign work to groups of students, and here's how you do it. First things first, you want to go down to the lower right-hand corner and click the little plus button to add. You can create an assignment. You could also do this with a question or an announcement, and you could assign an announcement to just certain students or a question to just certain students. But today we will create an assignment. Let's say you're doing a project on Romeo and Juliet. And what you want to do here is give it a name. We'll call it the Romeo and Juliet project. But you want to give the assignment the name of the group. So we'll call it Group 1. And what I might say is Act 1. Maybe I'm going to have Group 1 just work on Act 1. Now I could put in instructions, I could put in a due date, a topic, and I can attach a file. But the main thing you want to pay attention to here is you click this drop-down menu for all students, and you want to deselect all students. And then you want to go back in and select only the students who are in this group. So let's put in Danny, Emily, and Aaron for this group. And then we can click Assign.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop it and go back to the presentation because as you can see, it is really easy to assign group work in Google Classroom. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is Google Slides. This is a handout that you will also get in the resources, and it's a guide to collaborating in Google Slides within Google Classroom. And basically what this is going to talk about is students knowing that they need to select a group leader. They actually have to have roles within their groups so that not everyone is trying to submit the assignment in Google Classroom. Everybody's name can be on there, but one person is the person to submit. And so I love Alice Keeler. We follow her blog a lot. And so she put together a very easy guide on how you can help your students collaborate in group work and work in partners to submit in Google Classroom so that they're not submitting the same thing to you. One other thing that I think is just fantastic in terms of teaching your students how to collaborate and take collaborative notes and keep on task is Google Keep. Now, Google Keep is a digital note-taking application. And it is available on the side of your Google Calendar, on Google Docs, Google Slides. It's available in your email. Everywhere that you see that sidebar that has the calendar, the Google Keep, and the Google Tasks, you can launch Google Keep. So we're going to look at it really quickly so that you can see how easy it is to take collaborative notes. So let's take a deeper look into Google Keep. Like I mentioned, it's probably one of my favorite applications because if you get the mobile app, you can have it on your phone. It works on any device. So if you have a desktop, a laptop, a Mac, a PC, it doesn't matter, an Android, any one of those devices, you can use Google Keep and it syncs. So all of your notes are available at all times. So students can use this in some really creative ways. They can add each other as collaborators, and so they can share a note. And by sharing a note, they all can type in the note and have a component of a research project, let's say. And those notes can be converted to a Google Doc. You can drag them into Google Slides. You can add checkboxes to keep yourself on task. Let's say that there's a to-do list and that they're doing their own little project management and keeping everybody on track with the project. You can also draw with your finger or a stylus if you are using a mobile device. If you imported an image that had words, there is an option to grab the image text from images, and that is actually pretty phenomenal to be able to grab that image text. The AI is pretty sophisticated on this. If you have web links that you want to attach, going back to the example of students using it for research, if they want to attach copies of their websites that they're finding, you get the little thumbnails that pop up at the bottom of the Google Keep note. You can color code them, add labels. There's just so many different things that you can do with Google Keep. I encourage you, if you haven't used Google Keep, to just check it out yourself. Moving right along with collaboration and some really good tools that you can use in a blended learning environment. Google Jamboard. If you haven't heard of Google Jamboard, you're in for a treat. Google Jamboard is an interactive whiteboard. So think along the lines of using SLSO as a whiteboarding application. Google Jamboard actually is a physical board that Google creates similar to our smart boards, but we don't have that actual physical hardware. You could use the software, the online version. It's a light version, but it still does a lot. You can show work, math problems, you can work out problems. You can use it as a back channel, live note taking, entry tickets, exit tickets, collaborative brainstorming, a graffiti wall. There are little post-it notes that students can post with questions or comments. We're going to take a look at Google Jamboard. And we do have, this is a link to a live stream video that some of my teammates did so that you can get a little bit more details of Google Jamboard. But I just want to show you what it looks like. Jamboard.google.com, or you can go through the waffle, you can go through Google Drive and more in order to find it. But this was just a parking lot. So we did a training, and basically people just put in their questions or just put a little test just to test it out. And the way you do that is right here with the sticky note. So you can change the color of the sticky note. You can write something down on the sticky note and go ahead and save it, and it adds it. And then these all can be moved around. You can group them. So let's say if you had, if you needed to group things into themes, your students would be able to do that. And you share it just like you would share any other document in Google by clicking the share button. You can also get a link and put it into your Google Classroom. You can have one Jamboard for everybody, or you can create multiple frames. There are backgrounds. People really love the paper background and the graph paper background. And you can also import images. At this point, you can't import PDFs, but you can import an image. So if you took a screenshot of a worksheet, you can import that and then have students actually annotate over something. So that is Google Jamboard. Google Sites is the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about. And there's a lot that you can do with Google Sites. Namely, you can create a website for your individual classroom. You can have digital portfolios. But another thing that you can do is use it as a blogging platform. So this is actually a blog post which will show you how you can use Google Sites as a blogging platform for your students. Another thing that you can do in terms of fostering collaboration in the classroom is QR codes. And this is a collection of activities from a former teammate, Gale Research. She is at Boca Middle right now. And Gale pretty much put together all of these activities where you can have students create or work together to answer the brain teasers or vocabulary or math or whatever you wanted to do through QR codes. Now, since we're at home, a lot of students might have the Chromebooks where you can take a picture of the QR code in order to open up the website or activity. But that is one thing that you just might want to, since we're doing this in a virtual environment, you just want to make sure that students will have access to the QR codes. But in any event, I do want to give you the information so that you could take a look at it and see if this is something that you can incorporate in a blended learning environment. Helping students to become better communicators, that's what we do all the time. But I want to point out a couple of things that can help you foster communication and help you provide a platform for students to have a voice. So in this next section, we're going to go over a couple of our district supported tools that can help you do so. Let's go. Here are 2 tools for fostering communication, effective communication, positive communication with your students. One is Google Slides Q&A, and the other one, which I know a lot of us have heard, is Flipgrid. I included Flipgrid. I'll do that one first because we have, if you weren't able to view any of our live streams that EdTech did over this past summer, this one, the Flipgrid live stream recording, is amazing. We actually have Anne from Flipgrid who is walking through all the different features of Flipgrid and showing some really good examples of how you can use it in the classroom. So I do encourage you to come back to this one, check out the live stream recording, and see all of the wonderful ideas that she brings. Google Slides Q&A. Here's your opportunity to give students a voice in asking questions. Maybe they need to have something clarified. It's basically a back channel in your presentations. If you're doing a presentation in Google Slides, a website will show up that students can log into and ask a question. They can do it either with their name or they can do it anonymously. And they also have the opportunity to do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And the more thumbs up, the higher the rank of the question. And then maybe it's something that you can stop and address and then come back to your presentation. Let me show you what Q&A looks like. So I'm just going to escape out of full screen mode. And when you're in present, you use the little drop down arrow to go into presenter view. Now, warning, this works best if you have 2 different monitors because you can see that this overlay is here and it'll be in the middle of your presentation if you're doing like a Google Meet live stream. And so it's best if you can move it off into another screen. But under audience tools, and if you start anew, then what happens is this website pops up at the top of every slide. And so you always have this there. You can instruct your students just to go to this website, ask a question, and then all the questions will appear here, along with a thumb up or a thumb down. And then you can choose to present the questions. Now, one thing that I do want to point out that kind of gets people tripped up sometimes, students should be logged in to the district portal, accessing all the tools. But in the event somebody cannot access it, it could be because they actually need to log on in order to be able to do this. But Google Slides is something that I really encourage you to check out. And then once you escape out of this, once you escape out of there we go. Once you escape and go back to your presentation, then the Google Slides version goes back to your normal view. I have included blog posts on Google Slides history, how to capture that history if you want a record of the questions that were asked. So I encourage you to check that out as well. The collaborative features in Google Doc make it easy for students to communicate with one another. Here's an example of using it for peer editing. With the editing or suggesting modes in Google Docs, students can leave each other constructive feedback on their writing. The great thing about all of this is that you can get a history of the comments that they're making to one another. You can also review the history, and there's a wonderful extension called Draftback, which will actually give you a video of all the keystrokes that were done in a particular document. All those tools are showcased in the additional resources at the end of this presentation so that you can check them out. We've gone through tools for collaboration, tools for communication, and now we're going to look at a couple of things that our district supports that help foster critical thinking. One of the things that I wanted to show first is the concept of a hyperdoc. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because just like the quote says that I took directly from the Hyperdoc's website, a true hyperdoc is more than just adding links on a document. Sometimes we put links on a document, we give the document to a student, and it's just like a worksheet. It's not really asking them to do anything with the information that we're providing. With a hyperdoc, you're creating an engaging, holistic learning experience for students. You are asking them to explore information, explain it in their own words, add their original thinking to whatever it is that they've explored, and then to apply that information in a new and meaningful way. So with a hyperdoc, there are tons of samples depending on what content area that you're in. You could be in math or language arts or social studies, science. I've included the links to some sample hyperdocs, which are on the Hyperdoc website. And then also, when it comes to critical thinking and problem solving skills, it's really good to look at this from the concept of the instructional design from a backwards design perspective. And Tanya Averett, who is our absolute favorite from Adobe, she's done a couple of webinars for us on Adobe Spark, which I'm going to talk to you about when I talk about creativity. But in this particular webinar, what's the hype with hyperdocs? She actually goes into the design of hyperdocs and gets a little bit deeper into how it is much more than just adding the links. And she has lesson plan examples for all levels included. So as I mentioned earlier, I know that I'm throwing the information out, hopefully that you'll catch some things that'll be relevant to you and that you can go back and figure out whether or not it is something that you can implement in a blended learning environment. So I'm giving you the information, I'm giving you the tools, but the how-to is going to be included in the resources. And then the links that I've given you is so that you can take a deeper dive to see if this is something that you can implement. So as a former elementary library media specialist and a high school library media specialist, I can talk to you a little bit about how important it is to utilize these databases. A shout out to Library Media for providing these databases for all of us, teachers and students. But there's some really good stuff in these databases, so I wanted to make sure that I included them. Let's look at Gale Research first. So I'm going to escape. I have it up here. Gale is a collection of databases. For teachers, you have to actually select the school. You see that there's an elementary, middle, and high school version. But I'm just going to go ahead and pick one of the high school versions because I want to point out a couple of things. This is a collection of the databases within Gale that we subscribe to. I'm just going to pick global issues. There's some commonalities in all of the databases. Number one is the Google integration. As soon as you sign in here, as long as you're logged into the portal, it's going to pick up your district credentials. And then that way, anything that you save from Gale is going to be saved in a special folder that is created in your Google Drive. So I'm just going to go to explore this topic so that we can pick one and you can see some of the features here. I really like the clarity of the information, the date. A lot of times the actual publication is hyperlinked so that students can go and find out a little bit more about it. So from here, you can tell that this is a magazine journal and it's published weekly. Who is the actual publisher, if you want to do a little bit more research on that. So it is helping students develop source literacy, know the difference between a newspaper, a magazine, a journal, a peer-reviewed journal. So that's a really good feature in Gale. You can see the Lexile level, how many words, even the document type. It's an article versus a commentary or a letter. So it's something that is good to point out again in developing source literacy. Here's your Google Drive integrations here, and also with OneDrive. Here are your citations, which you can choose the format, which students will be able to copy that to put in their bibliographies or works cited page. Another thing that I think is very good feature is the highlighting and note taking. So as you can see, I highlighted this. I have the choice of changing the colors, adding my own thoughts, my own notes, or if there's a word that I wanted to highlight and I needed to define. It is attached to Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. So you'll have all of your definitions and everything that shows up at the bottom here. Along with these highlights and notes up top, you can view your highlights and notes. You can print them out, and the citation is there for every one of them. You can save it to your Google Drive. Just think about, having the article and uploading it into SLSO, turning it into a workspace activity or collaborative workspace activity so the students can annotate. You can ask questions, pick out key points. So those are the types of things that you can do. I also want to show really quickly Sir's Researcher. And the reason why I like this one is because it shows both viewpoints, opposing viewpoints. So it'll have a main issue here. You also can save it to your Google Drive. And then you get both sides of the issue. Wonderful way for students to develop their own point of view by looking at both sides of the issue. For elementary, Pebble Go is wonderful. This is Pebble Go, a little bit more graphics. However, the articles and everything are still here. So let's say I wanted to learn about cells. You can print out this article. You can also print out the PDFs of different activities. So just think about the activity. You can definitely have this activity and turn it into a workspace activity in SLSO. Or you can take a snapshot of it, turn it into an image, put it on Google Jamboard, have your students work on it there as well. So there's a lot that you can do with these. You don't just have to have the standard, printed out paper copy. You can turn this into an interactive activity using some of the tools that we have available. So these were 3 of the research databases. I did put Newsela here as well. Newsela, a lot of schools have individual accounts for Newsela. Some of the Trailblazers have accounts for Newsela. With Newsela, you'll find nonfiction articles, current articles, current events, as well as key issues. And these articles, you can actually have the articles by Lexile or reading level. So Newsela is a wonderful, wonderful resource if your school has a subscription to Newsela. So we're on our last of the 4 C's, creativity. And as with the other C's, there's so many things that I can show you, but I did narrow it down just a few. One of my favorites, Adobe Spark. We're going to talk about that. And then we'll talk about a couple of Google applications using Google Slides and Google Drawings. Adobe Spark for education is so much fun for students. A couple of things about Adobe Spark before I go into detail about each of the components. Teachers and students have access to Adobe Spark through the district portal. If for whatever reason the district portal is down, you can go to spark.adobe.com, but please make sure that you're logging in with your school account, not a personal account. When you log in that way, you'll see on the right it says log in with school account, and do that. That way your credentials will be authenticated and you'll have access to Spark for Education instead of the regular Spark. And there's a lot more features that you get with Spark for Education. Adobe Spark is available on any device. So you can use it on a Chromebook, a MacBook, a PC. Because it's web-based and you don't have to download anything, you can use it on any device. If you want to use it on a mobile device, they do have the apps, but you will be getting the individual apps, and I'll explain what that means. There are 3 components to Adobe Spark. There's Adobe Spark Page, where you can create stunning websites. Think digital portfolios. It would be great to have your students have a platform where they can put their work to show growth throughout the year. So you can think of Adobe Spark Page as maybe in the lines of digital portfolio for Google Sites. So you have an option there. Online journaling, that's another really good way that you can use reflection journals for Adobe Spark Page. Adobe Spark Post, that's where you can do quick graphics, really good looking graphics that you could use on just about anything. Posts, posters, logos. There's a branding component to this where you can create your own brand. And as a matter of fact, one of the videos, the live stream resources that I'm going to direct you to, Tanya Avrath has directions on how to show students how to create their own brand. What do I stand for? Those are some things that you can do with Adobe Spark Post. Adobe Spark Video, you can create short narrated videos, any topic. They have lots of different things, or you can pick your own thing. Upload images, narrate over them. They have some stock music, or you can import your own music. They have lots of different themes, lots of different layouts. So you really can create some professional looking videos with Adobe Spark Video. I'm going to show you each one of these really quickly, and then I'll also show you where you can get more information on Adobe Spark. So I'm on my district portal, and I am going to search for Adobe Spark. So once you start searching for it, you'll see that it pops up. After it signs in, you will see the 3 different areas: the Spark Post, the Spark Page, or Spark Video. So the slideshow, that's the Spark Video. You can even do presentation as a web page. This is also Spark Page. A collage, that's a graphic. So these are sort of some custom sizes here if you wanted to pick one of them. Or sorry, not custom sizes, but standard templates. You can customize your own size paper if you want it, or graphic. And I'm going to put this in inches and just do the square. That's fine, just so that you can see how easy it is to create a really good graphic. So I'm going to pick a graphic here and create. And what you can do is change each one of these components. The text, you can change the text, you can change the type, you can change the color, create a secondary text. This one already has the image there. You can remove the background, move freely. When you're done, you can download it as a PNG, and then you'll be able to upload this on just about anything. I'm going to go back because I want to show you the slideshow. So we're just going to test real quick. I just wanted you to see the different things that you can choose from. So promote an idea, tell what happened, hero's journey. You're not tied to using one of those. You can make up your own. And when you actually open up Adobe Spark Video, you'll see how easy it is to add images, add narration. You can upload a video, text, a photo. You have lots of different layouts here, different themes, different music that you can select. You can even add your own music. Bright red button for narrating. playback, adding new slides. Once again, this can be downloaded as an MP4, so that you can add to just about anything. I'm going to go back again to the home. And then the final one that I want to show you, and I have an example, is the web page. And with the web page, you can basically create a very slick looking web page, embedding pictures, images, text. You can choose whatever colors that you want to use, but think about how wonderful this would be if students were actually using this for an online journal. So that is Adobe Spark. What better way for students to be creative, to be creators and not consumer than to write their own book? And that's what they can do through Book Creator. I love Book Creator, and I know that we've said this a couple of times throughout this video series, that we have a webinar for it. But yes, we do. We have a webinar for Book Creator as well. And John from Book Creator is going over every single thing you need to know about Book Creator, from how do you create a book, how do students join a book. It is phenomenal, and I do have that resource for you that I'll show in a minute. But about Book Creator, when you first sign in at app.bookcreator.com, you want to make sure you're signing in as a teacher and not a student. Make sure there are two different tabs there, so you want to make sure you're doing the teacher sign in and create a library. For the free plan, you get one library with 40 different books, and those books can be recycled. So at the end of the school year, if you wanted to archive those books and reuse the 40 books for the next school year, you'll be able to do that as well. They have tons of templates and resources on their website. I had the one idea here for, once again, a digital portfolio, just basically helping students produce their own content. But there's so many different ways that you can use Book Creator. I was fortunate to work with some members of the team where we worked with preschool, and preschool actually put together their own books. It was amazing. So this is for every level. Every level can use Book Creator. And I'm going to show you really quickly what it looks like. So I am in Book Creator, and this was my library, and I just picked one particular book. There are a lot of different templates that you can choose from. But with this one book in Edit, there's a lot of things that you can add. You can add panels. This was the graphic novel, the comic version. So if I wanted to add some panels here, I'm adding some panels. You can add some speech bubbles. You can either have a picture or have a picture, find a picture. Everything is used for commercial use with modification, so that's very good. If you had a picture on your Google Drive or your computer, you can use it, or you can take a photo. Just, I could literally spend a lot of time, but that's not what the intent is here. The intent is just to kind of give you a little taste so that you can go back and take a look at Book Creator on your own. But I just wanted you to see how easy it is to create a book, and how fun that would be for your students, especially working in this blended learning environment, whether we are in school or, at home or hybrid or whatever. There's going to be some sort of blended learning component to it. And what better way for your students to show what they know than to create a book? We are winding down. I just have a couple more things that I want to show you under the creativity component. Google Drawings and using Google Slides backgrounds. These are two, I use the same example for both, but I wanted to show you the difference between the two. Google Drawing is something that everybody has access through, and the easiest way to get to it is through your Google Drive. When you're doing the plus sign to create, you see normally the Google Docs and the Google Slides and the Google Sheets. But if you do more, you will also see Google Drawings there. So what Google Drawings is is basically a blank page. Now, this is one that I had already created of the water cycle, but I took an image that I got from Google, and actually this is from Pixabay. Pixabay is a wonderful website to get free pictures that you can use. Pixabay, Pixabay. And then these were images that I took from Google Images, labeled reuse with modification. And so let's say you wanted to make a copy of this for each one of your students so that they can draw the water cycle. And so all you would need to do is put these little images, and I put the images here with no background, and they can just drag it on. Each student will be able to have their own version, plus the arrows, plus the little arrows and everything, so that they can demonstrate that they know about the water cycle. Now, the reason why I did it in both Google Drawings and in Google Slides is because, if you can see, this background image does move around. So if every student had their own copy, that's okay, because you can just tell them that they're moving the clouds and the sun and the stars. But if this was a collaborative project, you might have students kind of moving around the background. There are other things that you can do with Google Drawing. Again, it's just like a blank piece of paper, and you can insert images and text box and diagrams and word art and all this stuff that, although friends don't let other friends do word art, all those things you're able to insert into this, and it has the same sharing features as all the other Google products. But I wanted to show this in slides as well, because here's a little handy trick. You can give students the same thing in Google Slides, but now this background is fixed. And basically what I did is I went to background and I chose an image. I had the image on my computer, browsed it, and then it changed the background to be this image. So students can't actually move this. It's fixed. They won't be able to take away this image. And you can go ahead and put those images there, and they can still do the same thing. For the water cycle, I got the arrows down here on the side. You have all this extra canvas that you can use for this, but this is just one fun way of using Google Slides. A multitude of different topics that you can do this for. You can have numbers here, maybe, work out a problem, or symbols. There's so many things that you can do. Labels, if you even needed them to label something. Just an easy way to do something creative with Google Slides backgrounds, and also with Google Drawings. And as mentioned before, I just wanted you to know that at the end of this presentation, these next two slides, all of the links, everything that I went over, and some additional resources are available here, as well as on the ELM course under the resources. And I wanted to be able to provide, because sometimes we work best when we can digest things on our own time. So pick and choose. For the implementation, you just have to pick one thing, implement it, and then show evidence of the implementation in your classroom. It could be something simple as Jamboard, or collaborative note-taking in Google Keep. Don't forget, we have Adobe Spark page. Get your kids to journal, reflective journaling, and peer editing in Google Docs. There's so many different things that we can do. So these next two slides give you all the resources that you need. On behalf of, I'm going to move me up so that you can see everybody on the EdTech team. On behalf of the Educational Technology Training team, I want to thank you for watching the video. I hope that you're able to do the implementation so that you can get the points from the course. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out to us on our website, edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. On that website are copies of all of the live streams that we've done all summer. We have a calendar of what will be coming this fall. We'll be doing a lot of trainings this fall as well. Technology integration trainings and open office hours as we navigate through this new environment that we have. And then also our contact information is on there. On the last page, everybody's contact information and email is on there, and our Twitter handles, and our YouTube channel and everything. And so we just want you to know that we are here for you. We're here to help you. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to one of us on the team. Thank you.